another edition of According to Hip Hop Live. Shout out to Coop, man. What you got going on this week, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. You know what I've been working on the last couple of days. That's about to be real big. Can't let the word out of that yet. We're probably going to wait till about 3 weeks closer to that. So I've been hard working at that for the last couple of days. I pulled up on Black Rob for people the other day.
Rest in peace, Black Rob. Rest in peace to Shock G as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just real quick, you know, you and I were talking behind the scenes. There's a lot of comparisons with BMX and Black Rob and childhood upbringing, life stories, so to speak. You know, I'm some of Rob's people personally, so they that's the positive light on some things, and so we're gonna do just that.
Right.
So that was a blessing. His funeral is up in Harlem next Friday, I believe, is what the word is.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I got the word and the confirmation that Puff is taking care of everything.
Okay.
I got that directly from a very good source.
Okay.
So all the people hating on Puff, they need to kind of back up just a little bit.
Well, honestly, you know, a lot of that stuff is personal issues that, you know, the public really doesn't know about. And I guess in this world of social media, people expect everybody to make everything public, especially a person like Puff that is constantly on social media and constantly promoting things and constantly being a positive force out there. It's like, you know, people were expecting certain things that I guess honestly ain't none of their business, but the rumors are true that Puff is paying for Black Rob's funeral. You know, rest in peace, Shock G too, man. That came out of nowhere. We want to welcome everybody into the room. We're going to get to this topic of Outkast.
And hold on, Mike. And when I'm saying back off Puff, that's not coming from me. That's coming from Rob's people. Like, you know, seeing everybody and what they're doing with Puff. That's not even coming from me. That's why I'm saying that. Like, that's not even my call. Yeah.
You know what? Let's go right into the topic if you don't mind. We can circle back with some of this because, you know, it's been a real, you know, week for hip hop. So let's get into some fun.
Hey, Mike, the Shock G right quick. I was on the thread with the homies the other night, and it's like, damn it. And like one of the homies said, he's like, what the fuck? It feel like this happening every week.
Yeah, man.
Did we get a cause? Did we get a cause yet?
No, not that we know of right now. And, you know, I don't want to speculate anything that, you know, people are saying. I want to get, you know, official word. All right, well, is Outkast still hip-hop's greatest duo? This topic kind of came about because Redman and Method Man just did an incredible versus. And it was 3 hours long, entertaining. To me, personally, this was my favorite versus. It was just a straight-up performance. These guys do this all the time. And it kind of got us thinking, does Outkast have that greatest duo spot on lock in hip-hop? People in the room saying, Michael Berkeley said, Little Brother. Dominique Wooden says, Outkast forever. Facts. Outkast is the greatest duo of all time, no doubt. That's what Kane says. Dre People says yes. Trevor says, say happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Trevor, out there. Anquan Dennis says no. Who is it then? Anquan Dennis says Mobb Deep over Outkast, and I live in Atlanta. Okay.
Ooh, that's heavy.
All right. I got an 8-ball in MJG here. All right, so you would say Outkast is hip-hop's greatest duo, correct?
Who, me?
Yeah.
You want to know what? It's just hard to ignore the catalog. Like I told you, like the other day, you know, I was riding around. The Outkast playlist was on literally all day. Like I probably have like my favorite 35, 40 songs from them on a playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Benz or Beamer, because I can't get Benz or Beamer anywhere, but I literally still have the New Jersey Drive soundtrack.
Benz or Beamer is my favorite Outkast song, personally.
Top 5, possibly top 3. Top 5, possibly top 3.
They're
ridiculous.
Would you say, and you know, I have my opinion too, but would you say Outkast's catalog of albums is what sets them above other duos? And the other thing too is, let's qualify a duo, because somebody just said EPMD, DJ Scratchatory, I guess, doesn't count in that group. Are we not counting DJs? So we're counting groups with 2 MCs, right? So Tribe gets in this. Okay, so we're not counting Ali Shaheed. Tribe is being counted as a duo.
Yeah. Fife and Tip.
Okay, so De La Soul's a duo, right? So groups that got 2 MCs in them.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think about people saying UGK? Because I'm getting a lot of UGK here, and I know we got a huge Texas base out here on According to Hip Hop.
Hold on. You want to know? I want to finish Outkast
Go ahead.
right
Go
quick,
ahead.
and then I'm gonna jump right, and we can go right to UGK right after that.
Okay.
When you ride around Atlanta and you play Outkast, it's like the most inviting thing ever in what is becoming an uninviting place. It's like I told you, Mike. It's like the old people wave at you.
Mm-hmm.
The people younger than you look at you like you know something. The dudes your age nod your head because they know the song. It's different. It's different when you ride around the A and play Cast.
What album in particular, or is this just a mix of a bunch of things?
It's a mix of a bunch of things, Mike. But what I'm saying when I say that is that that's what makes their song so beautiful. Like there was stuff from Southern Playalistic popping up, ATLians, when I stepped on your love boat. You know, couple of random tracks here and there, like Everlasting off the Nothing to Lose soundtrack. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
That's a good one.
Due Time. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that was popping up. Some
Yeah.
of their appearances and stuff like that, like All in My Grill. Like I love Big Boy's appearance on All in My Grill.
Oh yeah, Big Boy murdered that record. Yeah.
He murdered that record.
You know what? And to piggyback on that, and I'm gonna let you get to UGK part. I think that that's another thing that separates Outkast too, is the fact that we have an identity for them as a unit and as individuals. And you know, Big Boy's appearance on All of My Grill, Monster That, same thing with the Slick Rick record, Street Talking. Andre didn't do as much of that. He has the record with Khalees, Millionaire, and the record with John Legend, Green Light. And Andre has shown himself on many records as well.
Walk It Out.
Yeah.
Walk It Out remix.
Yeah, Big Boy's on there too. But they have shown a few things individual, like verse for verse and featured appearances, and then come together as a group and do the same thing. Like, I think the only ones that really rival that part of it, I guess you could say UGK. And I think that's a good segue into that, because me and one of my guys was talking today about people who had crazy featured runs, and you got to say Busta Rhymes. I think 2 Chainz had a crazy featured run, Lil Wayne did, and Bun B is another one too. There was a point in time where Bun B was on everything, and it was when Pimp C was locked up.
So he was, and you want to know what? That was that was Southern driven mostly, and that was to keep UGK alive while Pimp C was gone. Everybody got behind Bun. That was a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the UGK just real quick, because we're all over the place already, which is cool.
Yeah.
So the UGK, part of what makes UGK so beautiful is in Pimp C you have a beat maker, hook writer, and a harmonizer.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Bun B you have a rapid fire, high level MC. And it blends together really, really well. They don't lack anything but the classic material outside of Riding Dirty.
Someone said that the problem with UGK is that they never reached the North. That's what Dexter Brooks said. What do you think about that? And did Outkast really reach the North in a sense? Or did they reach everything?
Yeah, I mean, Outkast reached the North and the West immediately. Like by 95,
with what?
With
what record? Like what record would you say?
I mean, I know personally, like Elevators is that record.
Yeah. Elevators was getting burned in the North, though. I mean, where my New York people at? Where are people on the East Coast? What Outkast song really started getting played?
I can't vouch totally for New York at the time, but I know that shit was playing on the West Coast.
I feel like it might have been Rosa Parks. That might have been the New York record. I don't even know if they were supporting Skewed on the Barbie like that, which I thought was, again, dream collaboration for me as a Wu-Tang fan, a Dungeon Family fan. And your boy Ray again.
Outkast and Wu-Tang are my 2 favorite groups of all time. So
me too.
And right. So, and that was the first song I heard off of Aquemini, Mike. I'm going to tell you.
Me too.
I remember where I was when I heard the Skewing on the Barbie.
Me too. Greg Street played it.
Me and my homeboy from the west side of Charlotte, Gary Austin, we used to work at Carowinds, which is the Six Flags for the Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
And we were leaving work. We were getting in a Jeep. It was super late. It was like 1:30 in the morning. They was playing the late night, and that shit came on, and we was like, what the fuck is that? We were like, what is that? be like, is that some mixtape shit? Like, what is that? Or Cass coming back?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I remember Greg Street playing it. I think that, man, I was in the car with my parents. It might have been like somewhere around Cumberland Mall or something. I really remember the moment that I heard "Skewed on the Barbie" for the first time. Um,
Right.
you know what? I'm just gonna go right into it. I think that Redman and Method Man just made an incredible case that they could be better as a duo than Outkast. Now, obviously, Outkast's catalog, album for album, is what it is, right? But Redman and Method Man as individuals, what they brought to the game, the classics that Redman has as a solo artist, the work that they've done together, the Wu-Tang stuff that Meth has done, the classic songs that Meth has as an individual, all of that was really put on center stage on that Versus, where and those guys, you know, they looked so good performing it. At the age of 50, they were making jokes about being elderly and all of that, and they were ripping this shit. Live performance wise, as a duo, I know that we went over criteria earlier. Does live performance count? I think that Redman and Method Man are a better performing duo than Outkast, and Outkast are great performers.
Okay, first of all, I think you're a little bit prisoner of the moments with some of what's going on. You know,
Am I?
first of all, yeah. Cause no. There are a few things that we have to address. First of all,
Okay.
your favorite rapper when you were younger was Method Man.
But
So
my
much
favorite
like
rapper after that was Andre. So.
no. There's nothing like your first favorite rapper, Mike. Like my first favorite rapper was Nas, and so it kind of stayed.
Well,
Right.
that's a good pick, man. Like,
Well, I was 13 when Illmatic came out, so it was a perfect time to catch me.
right.
It was a perfect time to catch a kid from the projects about an album about a kid from the projects.
Cr-
Right.
Christina says I'm being prisoner of the moment. Well, go ahead and elaborate.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, you kind of are, but I don't want to disrespect Method Red in any way because, like I told you, I think first of all, if we were just hold on, let's finish the UGK thing right quick.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean about all over the place.
It's a lot.
UGK is great and definitely one of the all-time great duos. I think where they really get hurt is probably live performance.
Okay.
Mostly due to lack thereof on some of that part, and also kind of getting late to the party, which was kind of intentional and no fault of the South Zone too. So people really didn't get to see them perform like they should have. You get what I'm saying?
Well, that's part of being underground kings, you know.
Right. Sorry about that.
No problem. Go ahead, finish your thought.
But, so I would probably put them in my top 10, but I don't think they're necessarily in the conversation for greatest duo ever, even though their chemistry and some of the songs that they have warrant that. Like when you hear them together and you hear them at their peak, it's like, oh yeah. And I mean that even at the end, like The Game Belongs to Me. Oh, I mean that. It's hard to fuck with that, Mike.
You know what? I love the comments that we're getting, so I want to get to some of them. Ike Phillip Ruffin says, best live performing duo is Lil Brother. Oh, man, I mean, I love Lil Brother. But I feel like I would be remiss. I don't want to sound disrespectful, right? I think Lil Brother's best member is Ninth Wonder. But I guess that still makes them a duo because we qualified this as a group with two MCs. So, I mean, I guess you could say Mr. DJ could technically be a third member of Outkast too, but I feel like Ninth Wonder being that whole sound of Lil Brother, it's hard for me to even call them a duo, but I get it. Fonte's dope as hell.
I don't think their catalog chemistry or bar level registers, and you know where I'm from.
Speaking of catalog, rather, Anquan Dennis says, what about Black Star? Well, the fact that Black Star only has one album, that really hurts them. But, you know, they do have a similar makeup as, you know, Redman and Method Man just being able to come together, but Redman and Method Man continue to collaborate and continue to put out work, and Black Star just doesn't have it.
No. Black Star is kind of in the Nas and AZ category. There's not enough material to qualify them at the top, even though the songs, even though the songs that they have together, the chemistry they have together, and the level of the songs is there. It's not enough of them against other guys. Like when you think about it, it's like, is it fair to put either one of those duos ahead of UGK?
Mm-mm. And you know what? Somebody
No.
brought up Naughty by Nature as well. Very interesting group there. Also, similar makeup to Lil Brother in a sense where, you know, the whole sound was KG, and it's very hard to not consider KG's work. And, you know, not to mention that Tretch was just such an overpowering force in that group,
I'm about to
too.
say no. Tretch is a dope MC and a star, and over a course of time, has become one of the more unheralded MCs of his era. He was somebody that, I mean, if you hear people like Redman and Biggie talking in the early '90s, they reference Tretch, his peer,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
high level. Yeah.
You know, Tretch was out here making street records that were super hit records too. That was what was different about what Naughty was doing. Like it wasn't like they were
I
compromising to
think.
hit the
Hold on,
radio.
hold on.
The radio
So
came to
I
them.
think I think that hurt Tretch in a time where Nas started making poetic project albums and Biggie started making like East Coast gangsta funk shit. Like I think that happy shit hurt him actually in terms of his respectability as an MC because it made people like respect the quality and the level of his bars even less. Like
You,
his breath control, like Tretch's breath control and delivery is top notch in his prime.
and his lyricism too. I mean, OPP is a dope
Listen,
ass
that too.
concept record. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I mean like even Uptown Anthem, Feel Me Flow, yeah, he can spit. Like Tretch
Yeah.
is nice.
You put your heart in a
Like and
part
Tretch
of
is
a part that spreads apart. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
no. Um, let's qualify this again because people have mentioned DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. We're talking about groups that got two MCs in them. And you know what? I want to go ahead and talk about, again, Red and Meth in the sense where
Yeah, now let's get the red man.
Red and Meth, I think that they're a better performing duo than Outkast. I think
They're
they. Go ahead.
No, they're the best performing duo ever. Of everybody we're going to mention, they're going to give you the best performance. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, you're kind of being prisoner of the moment because you're seeing them do what they do best. And they do a lot of things great. And so it kind of highlights it. But what I'm going to say to you is that aren't you a catalog guy?
I am a catalog guy. But see, in that versus again, we saw the catalog of those individuals and them collectively. And let's just cut the shit, man. Let's break down member for member. Is Andre a nicer MC than Method Man? I'm not sure.
I mean, I told you, Mike. Method Man is one of the few MCs that I have ever heard that I think on a good day or on his best shit can be better than Andre. And so that's that is a fascinating and very difficult discussion because Andre doesn't have Method Man's catalog, but Method Man's catalog doesn't necessarily supplant the greatness of Andre's catalog in Outkast, even though you could say that Method Man's total Wu-Tang
There you
catalog is
go.
comparable
I was
to
gonna
Meth.
say, yes, exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We can't sit here and say, okay, well, we're gonna talk about just Method Man's solo stuff and not the group stuff, and all Andre has is group stuff. So
I mean, so who has the better group stuff when we really look at it? Because it's like I told you, Mike, Method Man is a real special kind of guy, and he really all he needs is a classic album. Because like I told you, Mike, he's one of the few guys that can just be with his. It's like, does Andre have any comparable to Cream, Ice Cream, or Wu Gambino?
All right, all right. I guess with those two, we gotta
Does
look
he
at
have
criteria.
hold on, listen to where I'm going with
Uh huh.
this. Does he have one verse that's necessarily better than Shadow Boxing? Does he have a solo mic performance better than Bring the Pain?
He does not. That's just factual. Does he have "I'll Be There for You"?
So it's
I
very
mean,
problematic. Mike, I was listening to I'll Be There For You the other day. Mike, that's one of the 5 best rap songs ever.
five.
And
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you why, Mike.
well then that's your answer right there. Method Man's better
Mike,
than Andre.
no, I'm gonna tell you why. And I was literally listening to it last night. I mean, late, Mike, like 3,
Yeah.
4 in the morning. I was listening to it, and I was like, oh my god. I'm like, the fuck did they keep this shit so gritty and make it beautiful at the same time?
Yeah.
I was like, how did he do that? It's beautiful, but it's still got enough grit. Like, it's like almost like it's like you're loving what they're saying and how they're vibing, but it's almost like you're mugging because of the way the beat is going and because of how he's sliding on the track. Like, Mike, he's ice skating on the track.
It was groundbreaking, man. I really feel like it was one of the first. It was one of the first big R&B and rap collaborations that was still very rap. Jaquan J says the RZA version or the Diddy version. Which one are you talking about? I like the RZA version.
The RZA version is the one that gives you the more gritty feel, but either version, both. That's what I'm saying, Mike. Both versions of that record are epic.
It is, and I think because I got into the RZA version first, that I kind of looked at the Diddy version like, this is the radio version. But yeah, I mean, either one can go, and he's showing his ass on there.
When you listen to that record, it can stand next to Dear Mama, Nothing But a Thing, Cream, like One More Chance. Not like it's right there.
But you know what? Bring the pain.
And it's a love song. It's hip hop's best love song ever, Mike.
You think it's hip hop's best love song ever?
It is, Mike. There's not a love song that feels that way. That's just so honest and so real. It's not like because it's the embodiment of our culture too.
What do y'all think in the room? Y'all think I'll Be There For You is the best hip hop love song ever?
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's also interesting.
You want to know what, Mike? It's because it's the type of hip hop record, Mike. It makes you. I keep trying to tell you, don't be listening to these rappers. It's cool to love a woman. It's one of those records that makes it cool to love a woman. It's rare that rappers like that do that.
Charles Dickinson said Renee. You got I'll Be There For You over Renee? I don't know.
Yeah.
I might be.
Renee is up there, and I love Renee, and I think that's the Lost Boys' best song. And I think it's Cheek's good performance because it's a great story, but like I would still give it to I'll Be There For You.
Jock Dway has LL. He said I need love.
Like Mary Jackson on the hook a little bit too, because it's like that hook, but she flexed it a little bit. That record's special, Mike.
That record is special. So I Need Love is just out of the picture. Because that's what everybody in the group is saying.
I would put I Need Love in the top 10. It's more important than it is better. I would think Renee and I'll Be There For You are better records. I Need Love might be more important because it's hip-hop's first real love song. So it's super important value. Like, it kind of paved the way for I'll Be There For You and Renee. Does that make sense? So it's important in that regard, but I don't think it's a better song.
Teenage Love by Slick Rick.
That would be a top 10 record too, but not better. It's not better than those records. Like, Mike, you telling me right now you would rather hear I'll Be There For You or Teenage Love?
Yeah, I got I'll Be There For You on that.
Right.
Okay.
Same thing with I Need Love. I think Renee is better than both of those records too.
Brandon says Common Come Close. I love that record too, but I would put The Light over that.
Close.
But I don't think Come Close is no. Yeah.
Come close in this conversation. I don't think, but it's a beautiful record.
The Roots You Got Me.
Beautiful Skin by Goody Mob. The Roots You Got Me. The Roots do beautiful love songs. My favorite Roots love song is the Hypnotic off Philadelphia Half-Life with D'Angelo. I like that more than You Got Me.
Would Brown Skin Lady from Black Star can be considered a hip hop love song? I think that's more of an appreciation song, like Beautiful Skin.
I was thinking the same. Doesn't KRS-One have the same song by the same name, or is it called Brown Skin Woman? Is KRS-One's Brown Skin Woman?
I think KRS is Brown Skin Woman. But yeah, you know what? You might be right, and when people are mentioning these other love songs, that record has a whole different edge to it.
It has a whole. That's what I mean, Mike. It's gritty. It's of all those songs, and whoever said Renee, it made me.
That's the closest.
Like, damn, Renee might be right behind I'll Be There For You and second, because those are the two songs that I think of because it's still hip hop, Mike. Those are the songs where it's like their expression of their love for their woman is real and it's beautiful and it's still cool.
Yeah.
Like there's a good buy-in.
It's like some grimy love type shit.
It's not even that it's a grimy love. It's the type of shit that it's like you can tell they made that record from a place that they're not trying to get you to buy in.
And it's not toxic either. You know what I mean?
I'm not doing this for the women. It's like, nah, this is my vibe and my flow with it when I flow with it.
Oh, I got another one, man. What about DMX's How's It Going Down?
Going Down? I think for some of the records we named, that's a bigger hit than a lot of these records. I would probably put it on the back end of some of these records that we named.
I think that How's It Going Down for me is one of those things where it's like you didn't think DMX could make that record. You know what I'm saying? I think it was more of a shock, but that was the same thing with the Method Man record too. Like we had heard METHOD Man, we had heard Bring the Pain, and then he comes with this with Mary. Man, next level.
He was a star. No, he was a star, so that didn't surprise me. Just like One More Chance didn't surprise me. It was like, no, he's a star. Okay, totally.
Well, no, it was just the fact that Wu-Tang was so grimy. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't expect that record. He was
grimy. He still is grimy.
Yeah.
He's on limit with Conway, like for a reason. Grimiest of all time. Like he called Method Man.
Okay, so what I get from that whole 10-minute conversation, Method Man's better than Andre.
I would put it at a tie at the worst, actually, if we're just talking bar for bar, Mike, because Meth got shit that's fucking with Dre. He does. Overall, he does.
Because I don't really feel like, I mean, all right, stylistically, Dre got the flow, right? And Dre got the wordplay.
Hold on, stop. Mm-hmm. Did you say flow over Meth?
I think Dre might have the flow over Meth. I don't know.
See, okay, so this is where it becomes a whole conversation for me, is because what I'm trying to tell you is that, like, everything that Andre does, like, Meth kind of does too. Meth's catalog is actually more extensive, and Dre's best shit, no, Meth got some for Dre's best shit. And when I'm saying this, we talking about guys that I think are top 5 all-time talent capability type of guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, both of these guys. Like, both of these guys, in my opinion, could have been the greatest MC of all time.
Pen game. Lyricism. You got Meth or Andre?
I'm actually going to give you... See, here's where I differ than most people. I actually going to give Andre the pen game on that. I give Meth the style and the flow. Like, Andre can't do shadow boxing. Andre can't do shadow boxing. But I guarantee you, let me tell you this, like, Method Man can rap on, like, some of those Outkast beats.
Method Man's word placement.
Like, how about this? Can you put Andre on Ice Cream and put him on the hook of Ice Cream and have him show out and become the star of that show the way Meth did?
No.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I think Method Man's the better rapper, man. I'm just going to keep it a buck.
That's because Meth got more styles and flows than Dre, actually. And Dre got lots of styles and flows. But when I think of Mike, when I think of styles and flows, I immediately, the first two people that come to mind to me are Biggie and Method Man.
A lot of people in the room are saying Andre's better than Method Man. Why exactly would you say that Andre 3000 is a better MC than Method Man? Because, I mean, I think this is an interesting conversation. Like, we don't really talk about it.
No, I think it's one of the more fair conversations that we've had, actually. Like, period, since we've been doing this podcast. It's a very fair comparison, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that, Andre's influence on the game, and he's a very flashy figure. He has a very flashy style. Like, the way he approached Bombs Over Bad Dad, I don't see Method Man doing that per se. But I think that collectively, all the things that Meth has done, it's very hard to say that Dre's better than him.
No, Mike, when you say that he can't do Bombs Over Baghdad, though, what is All In Together and what is Gravel Pit?
You're right. Because there's some things that Meth can do that I couldn't see Dre doing.
That's what I'm saying. People don't really understand that the only reason that Method Man isn't talked about as a top 10 all-time MC is because he doesn't have a classic album. If you go look, he has everything else. Mike, everything else. That's what I'm saying. Everything that Drake got, he got something for him, because the only thing that keeps Method Man out of that conversation is because the guys that are ahead of him, it's the classic albums that they've made.
But Dre doesn't have a classic album either.
Hold on. That's why this conversation is fair. Right. Neither one of them have a classic album, but they both have classic verses and material and stuff, and they're both heralded. They both came out around the same time. Yeah.
Jock J says, I'm going with Method Man. He said, Dre could not make Judgment Day. That's interesting. And I will give Method Man that.
I would hope you wouldn't make a Judgment Day. You talking about the album?
No, talking about the song. We're talking about the song, I believe. Yo, speaking of which, when he played Dangerous Grounds on the verses, I was like, whoa. Dangerous Grounds, microphone check 1 2 1 2. That's on Blackout. They played a bunch of stuff. Serial Killer. they played a bunch of stuff that I was like, wow, I can't believe they just played this.
I like
Big
that they played serious.
Dogs.
I really enjoyed that. Big Dogs,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, man, Method
So,
Man went crazy on Dangerous
so,
Grounds.
So here's how I would rank this. So, and this is even, it seems like how from our comments are going, let's put Dre and Meth at a tie. Redman.
I don't think that's what we've decided. I think from our conversation, it looks like we're giving it to Meth.
More people said Dre though.
Okay.
More people say Dre, Mike.
Okay.
More people say Dre. You think it's Meth, but Meth's favorite rapper. So I mean, like I'm saying, it's fair to the catalog of Outkast and what Dre contributed to the catalog and what Meth hasn't done and what he has done to say that it can be a fair tie. I think Meth is inherently probably a little better than Andre and has done more because he's performed more. But also, too, there's a lot to be said. It's like, I don't know, it's like, how do you want to qualify it, Mike? It's like Meth is taking much more shots at making an album than Andre has because Andre hasn't taken that chance yet. So are we knocking Meth for that? Are we knocking Meth for that?
I was going to say that, too. He actually attempted to make solo albums, and he gets knocked for not having the quote-unquote classic. I mean, I know you were just talking about how Takal has aged very well anyway. I mean, because Anquan is asking, is Method Man's first album a classic? And shout out to Sophie over here.
Very well.
They said that Method Man couldn't make Rosa Parks. So we're hearing all kind of comments here.
Maybe not Rosa Parks, but that's like a stretch. It's hard for, I don't think anybody other than Outkast could have done Rosa Parks except for like maybe The Roots.
Yeah. I mean...
Black Eyed Peas, The Roots, like the live bands of hip hop are the only people I think could have pulled off Rosa Parks other than Outkast, quite frankly.
Yes, and Method Man's verse on "Got My Mind Made Up." Jock J, thank you for pointing that out. That was another. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, haven't we talked about that verse like 3 times in the past week, though?
We have, man. It was that Alchemist album, the Russian Roulette album, where he kept using that as a drop at the end of every song. And each time I was like, shit, that play a game of Russian Roulette and have a blast. You know what? I got a quick story before we continue on. Back before I could actually rap, and this was like 8th grade or something, whatever. In like middle school, I would memorize that verse and quote it like it was my own for people who I knew didn't know the verse. And, that was my verse to impress people, that Method Man verse from I Got My Mind Made Up. I thought it was that dope, Mike, when it came out.
So, Mike, I'm going to tell you something. When I decided I wanted to rap, I'm going to tell you what, I bought 2 tapes. I had $30 once in my first 2 tapes in 1995. I bought Dope or Die by AZ and Liquid Swords. They came out on the same day or around the same time, I believe. Method Man's verse from Shadowboxing and AZ's second verse from Rather Unique. I wrote the verses down. I was trying to figure out their style.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see how stylistically what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I tried to write Method Man's verse, Mike. I still don't know what the fuck he was doing. I'm fucking almost 40.
Yeah. I mean, Shadowboxing is one of those records that I taped off the radio before, the album came out, and I played it over and over to memorize that shit. Jock J said he did the same thing that you did with those verses. See, again, man.
Right. Second verse on Rather Unique. Oh my God, it's phenomenal. Shadowboxing. I was writing it down, Mike. I can remember sitting.
That's what I'm saying, man. We got to give Method Man his credit. I'm sorry, man. We got to put Method Man ahead of Dre. It's just what it is.
No, Mike, I'm not gonna let you do that because you're always shitting on Dre. Like, no, we're gonna call it a tie. No, I'm not gonna let you do that.
Well, let's go to Redman then. Well, how about we do it like this?
Big Boy. I love Big Boy, but he's not better than Redman next.
Well, Redman could possibly be better than Dre too, if we start pulling the criteria down. It's possible. He got, you know what? If we talk about solo classics, Redman actually has that. Of all 4 of these MCs, Redman actually has that.
Hold on. You want to know what? Let's change. Where's Ray and Ghost in Styles and Kiss and all this? I want to know from the people. Where's Ray and Ghost and Styles and Kiss and all this? Or is this, or is this like definitively Outkast versus Meth and Red conversation? Have they separated themselves at 1 and 2? Is there anybody else like in there that's like? Because we haven't talked about them. I've heard a lot of other people brought up. I've heard UDK, Mobb Deep, 2 members of Tribe, 2 members of Little Brother. Nobody's brought up the clips, Mike. I'm gonna bring up now.
Well, somebody did
how
bring
I
up the
feel.
clips. Somebody brought up the clips earlier.
Oh, they did. They better.
BJ
All
Light
right.
says Muddy Waters, and yeah, people were saying Jock J said Redman got the albums.
Redman got the albums, because that's the thing. Even if you don't think what the album and There's a Dark Side have held up as classics, those are still dope albums, and there's not a question of whether Muddy Waters is a classic.
Yeah, I mean, Redman.
You better not. Mike, and arguably the best rap year ever from top to bottom, that's the top 5 rap album.
BJ Light says Ray and Ghost are #1 for me. Now let's explore that. Let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you wanted to talk about that.
No. Let him talk. Let him talk.
Well, tell us why Ray and Ghost are #1 for you. I know that one of the things for me that I would say that Styles and Kiss and Ray and Ghost really excel at, that I wish Redman and Method Man would do more of, is their back and forth game. Nobody fucks with Styles and Kiss's back and forth game except for maybe Ray and Ghost and MGM.
So you have it backwards. No. You got it backwards. Ain't nobody fucking with Ray and Ghost back and forth except for Styles and Kiss.
Styles and Kiss sound like one person when they're going back and forth, man. And you know what? That's one thing that I really wish Outkast was able to do a little bit more.
I guess they just really weren't built for that. You know what I mean? Because they're more peanut butter and jelly with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's more like put it together and it tastes good instead of like whip it in the same bowl together and it tastes good. You know, inherently. But like I don't know, because here's the thing about it. Okay, so
what songs are you pointing out for Ray and Ghost that make you feel like their back and forth is the best in the game?
Oh, Mike, I already told you, the MGM is the greatest back and forth ever. It's the greatest back and forth ever. Like, first of all, so that like the evidence is on the MGM. And also, too, I want to point this out. The MGM happened, like their chemistry really like hit another level when Ghost became great.
Yeah. No, I agree.
When Ghost became great, it was just like, oh, it was a rap, Mike.
The Hilton.
So, like, they have the catalog. I mean, Mike, every song that they made together on the Purple Tape and Iron Man is dope. Like, most of the guys that we just talked about don't have that. Mobb Deep has it.
My knock on Styles and Kiss is the fact that they don't have an album together, unfortunately, and I wish they did, because they sound like they do have a ton of work. But I kind of understand
more work than anybody else.
I kind of understand why they haven't exclusively done an actual Styles and Kiss album, because it kind of isolates Chic, you know what I mean? And they are a group, they are a trio, and they do so much back and forth with each other. Even like, I love the fact that on a song like Banned from TV that's a posse cut, their verse is a back and forth. It's like they're one person. I love Ghost and Ray, and I think that Ghost and Ray are doper individuals than those two. But I don't think they do the back and forth like, you know, Styles and Kiss, because they do it so consistently. Like, what other song other than MGM are you pointing to?
I was about to say, are you just talking about back and forth?
I'm just talking about back and forth for right now.
Okay, if you're just talking back and forth, I'm going to have to dig on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to dig off the top of my head on it, because, like, when I'm thinking about it, like, Ray and Ghost don't do a ton of back and forth, but when they do, it's beautiful, but they do a lot of 1 and 2 on the verses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And here's what I mean. They do a lot of 1 and 2 on the verses. Ray and Ghost probably have more great songs with just them 2 guys on it than all these other guys that we're talking about, and that's why that they can be considered the greatest, because they have tracks. Can It All Be So Simple? Criminology.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The MGM. You know, and there's a lot of their stuff where Kappa's on there. There's like a third person, but when you got stuff with Ray and Ghost on there's a lot of great material with Ray and Ghost on there.
Yo, BJ Light just brought up another one though. Tommy's theme, Kiss and Styles back and forth on that. That record was crazy.
Woo! Their back and forth there is crazy.
It's sick. You know, I could take a whole album of them niggas going back and forth.
Of course, Force is probably their most famous back and forth.
I like
You
Dope
know what?
Money,
You know
man,
what,
on the Rough Riders
Mike, how
compilation.
about this? You want to know what, Mike? How about this? Here's what I'll give you. I don't think Kiss and Styles have a better back and forth than the MGM, but I'll give you Kiss and Styles on the back and forth. But they're not a better duo because they don't make better songs.
Okay, I can give you that. You know, and I even like the one, what was it, Problem Child, when they went at 50, when they was going back and forth on the I
Ooh,
Shot You beat.
you want to know what I just thought of? Like, and
Uh.
here's what I mean when Ray and Ghost just sound dope together. You remember Motherless Child, where Ray just comes in before Ghost tells the story. Rich man, poor land, read the headlines. Niggas getting spots and bigger dimes. Like there's just stuff about them. I've been just having Ray lace that little mini hook before Ghost comes in. It's like a whole. They just. It's beautiful when they get together. It is.
It
It's
is,
something.
man.
They're
It is.
cinematic. You want to know what it is? Ray and Ghost sound the best together and they make the best stuff because they're cinematic thinkers and cinematic MCs. And so it really be playing, they be trying to make it play like a movie. And so when they hit their mark, like what's 260, Mike? 260 on Iron Man.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, man, you know, even though Outkast stopped at a certain point and it's had an incredible catalog up to that point, other people were really focusing more on their solo efforts as opposed to duo stuff. But over the years, they have become, like you said, like Styles and Kiss and Ray and Ghost, they have developed a catalog together. And I think that's what Red and Meth are too. Because, you know, around the time the cast was like in that conversation and all of them in that conversation, Red and Meth only had one album together. But now it's a different conversation.
Different conversation. I mean, Mike, they got a lot of stuff together. I mean,
yeah.
And here's what I mean. Like, and outside of We Gonna Make It, I want you to tell me if Styles and Kiss can fuck with these records. Criminology.
No.
Rainy Days. Heaven and Hell. Like, can they fuck with any of those records?
Not off the top. No.
Can it all be so simple? Apollo Kids. These are the records just Ray and Ghost. I'm talking nobody else because they got so many other great records where they're the third person that it's not even a conversation if we talk that.
Yeah.
260.
Jock J says Ghost and Ray on the Forest.
Ghost and Ray on the Forest.
I like the Hilton a lot.
The Hilton, Ragu, Ray and Ghost United. Flowers.
Yeah.
The Hilton.
Yeah, Flowers was just mentioned.
The MGM. Like, the Kissing have any records that are fucking with all those records except for We Gonna Make It.
No. I mean, I feel you. It's like when it comes to record making, I think it's a whole nother thing going on there. But I'm talking about the actual chemistry. I don't think I've heard anything like.
That's what I'm saying. But the chemistry, Mike, it has to bear fruit though, Mike.
No, you're right.
The fruit of the chemistry is in the quality of the record. If the chemistry is there, it's going to bear fruit in the record. It bears fruit when Ghost and Ray get together and do the record. And that's why it's a legitimate argument because I think Andre and Big Boy are the only duo that, other than Ray and Ghost, that can legitimately say that. It's like, damn, almost every time they get together, they make a dope record.
Yeah.
And so even though I think if you're talking about skill level and entertainment level, Meth and Redman are a more valid conversation than Ray Ghost. But if we're talking about the quality of music to put up against Outkast in this conversation, it's Ray and Ghost having the conversation. And Mike, if you want to let cats on with Ray and Ghost, where they, and I'm not even talking about Wu-Tang Posse cuts, I'm talking about if you just want to go to Ray and Ghost songs where they have a third person on the track, they're beating Outkast because that means Knuckleheads, Glaciers and Ice, Ice Cream, Ice Water, records like that start getting in. You get what I'm saying? And then it's not a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
All right. What's up, Chris? I want to give Chris an update. He said, what's up, whatnot. You know what we're talking about is Outkast still hip-hop's greatest duo. And Method Man and Redman are in the conversation. We were debating whether Method Man's better than Andre. And now we're at the point where you're basically saying that Ray and Ghost as a duo have a better catalog of music than Outkast.
No, Mike. If you're talking about if we're talking about songs that have Ray and Ghost on them, just Ray and Ghost, No, but if we're talking about just Ray and Ghost records where there's somebody else on there, when I mean somebody else on there, I mean I'm talking about you can just add one more person. You can like discount it if there's 4 people, just one other person. Then yeah, they got cast. Mike, I can pull it up and show you the records. Mike, you know what? We forgot a Ray and Ghost record, Kilo off Fish Scale, where they took the old metric system sample. Kilo is 1,000 grams. Like that's Ray and Ghost too. They got so much shit, it's ridiculous, Mike.
So if Ray and Ghost did a versus against Outkast, you think Ray and Ghost could top them out? And that means they could play Ice Cream.
They can't play Ice Cream because that's Method Man and Capadonna.
But
they can't play Ice Cream.
But that's like, but it's on one of their albums.
That's what I'm saying. If they can play those types of records, then it's over, Mike. Yeah.
I was gonna say they should be able to play whatever both of them are on, right?
Because here's one crack in Outkast's armor, if there is one. Oh, their hit records aren't epic enough that you just gonna fade Ray and Ghost. Like they got something for some of Cast-based shit. Like Ray and Ghost got records that can beat Players Ball.
I agree with you.
That can beat ATLians. That can beat Miss Jackson. Like, no. Ray and Ghost got records that can beat those records because Outkast's best shit isn't in their singles.
I agree.
Much like Ray and
you know
Ghost.
what? I think we totally agree on that one. I mean, as big as Outkast singles are, it's not their best work.
Like Mike, how about this? Is Players Ball better than Glaciers of Ice?
Hell no. And I can't believe I'm saying it like that, but it's not. It's not. Yeah,
Mike,
and I'm Dungeon Family first, but I'm just being honest, man.
Mike, is Elevators better than Ice Cream?
It's not.
Hold on, Mike. Is the song Equimini better than All That I Got Is You? You get what I'm saying? Like they got shit.
I think that Equimini could be better, but that's close. That's close.
That's a fair argument. That's what I'm saying when I'm saying Ray and Ghost got shit.
They do, and they have it on a different level. Their storytelling ability together. I just really feel like as great as Outkast was.
10 bricks off the purple tape too, Mike.
Yeah, 10 bricks is ridiculous, man. Andre Shashir says Players Ball is better. I mean, as great as Outkast is, and the catalog they put together as, just album for album, changing up themes and all that, I do wish that Outkast could have gelled together as MCs a little better, like some of these guys that you're mentioning, telling stories together, like the back and forth together, the trading bars. Like, we saw that on Spaghetti Junction a little bit. We saw that. Yeah, I love Spaghetti Junction. And I love when they do that. Benz or Beamer. Again, my favorite Cast song. When Outkast is that group, I feel like they could have done that even more. But there was a beauty in their differences too. But when it comes to comparing them to these type of duos, it makes the argument tougher. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't trade bars like that.
That's why I like Wheels of Steel so much too, Mike.
Yeah. They didn't do that a lot.
No,
it's a handful of songs.
Like literally 3 or 4, I think, where they actually do the back and forth. But every one of those songs would belong like on their probably 20 greatest songs list. So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, but Ray and Ghost just got so much stuff, Mike. I mean, I'm going Fish, Daytona 500.
Okay. Daytona 500 is ridiculous.
I was about to say Iron Maiden's probably my favorite. The first track on Iron Man is probably my favorite.
Shit's crazy.
Iron Maiden.
Yeah, shit's crazy.
Shit crazy, man. They got shit for days. And so here's what the real problem is. Outkast stopped recording, Mike. And so it's the elephant in the room because because here's the thing. When Stank On You came out, like let's say 4 years after Stank On You, which would have made it when did Stank On You come out? 01?
No, that was 2000. Let's say 2004. Yeah.
So let's just say 2005, Mike. In 2005, they were unquestionably the greatest rap group who would ever live.
Yeah, because they were just coming off of Speakerboxx Love Below too.
I mean, Mike. Yeah. Okay, so Mike, let's go up. In 2010, it was the same way, right?
Yeah.
It don't feel the same now. It just don't feel the same now because the other guys that were like in competition and comparable to them, they just kept on rapping and doing shit, and they're still here and they're doing verses. It's like we're the Outkast verses.
Right. And I think that's one of the big things with Cast, man.
Can we get an Outkast Tribe Called Quest verses?
Right. And you know what? Even Tribe came back with an album. Tribe even came back with an album.
The album was pretty good.
And it was good. Yeah. I think that.
I thought it was. I thought better than the Love Movement.
Oh, definitely, it's better than the Love Movement. You know, I think that fear that half of Outkast has of not living up to what they previously did has kind of put them in that position. And I think at this point, as fans would appreciate whatever offering Outkast brought at this point in their career.
That's
And
not. Hold on. That's not. No. That's not fair to say that they're scared for how much they push the envelope every time. It's part of what made them great was their fearlessness. They pushed hip hop's boundaries with their style and their way of making music. And so you don't get the pull on the back end. Oh, well, I'm scared to come out. It's like, nigga, you wasn't. Hold on. Hold on, Mike. You want.
Andre literally says he has stage fright.
Mike, no group in the history of rap has made a debut album that is as great as their first album and made a second album that sounds literally, absolutely nothing like anything that was on the first album.
Mm-hmm.
And that album too is great.
You know who else did that? You know who else did that?
Don't you?
You know who else did that? A Tribe Called Quest did that.
Here you go with this bullshit.
It did.
I said great, Mike.
Man, please. People's Instinctive is incredible.
No, it's not.
People's
Mike.
Instinctive is it was the first album to get 5 mics in the source.
I don't care. Like,
it's got Bonita on it. It's got Footprints on it.
4 mics. They ain't got no.
No. Listen, man. It's got Bonita on it. It's got Footprints on it.
My Wallet and El Segundo.
El Segundo's dope too.
Those are the dope records.
No, that whole record is dope. You tripping, man. I think what Tribe did, went out there.
Record, Mike, it's a good to great record. It's not like the album that you keep making it to be. It's not the Low Inferior Midnight Marauders. It's not on that level. You keep talking about it like it's on that level.
Well, Chris brought up another group too. Public Enemy did that as well.
Nah, you can kind of see it coming.
Nah.
You didn't see AT-Aliens coming. You didn't see AT-Aliens coming.
No, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't.
Chuck had a voice and a rhetoric and a message from the jump. It's just the message got more centralized, like to the focus of the people and the things that he was seeing going on. But you could see that coming. Nobody saw AT-Aliens coming, Mike. You didn't see Elevators coming.
Can I Kick It's on there? Y'all tripping, man. Come on, man. Luck of Luciano? Come on, man. After Hours, Footprints.
You want to know what, Mike? The source should have gave it 4 mics.
No.
4 mic.
No.
They gave it 4 mics.
De La Soul up the ante. I feel like De La Soul turned up the volume.
You don't think People's Instinct better than Southern Playalistic, do you?
I don't. But they're both classics.
The fact that you were thinking about that is very problematic. I don't want to have any more of it part of this conversation.
I don't understand what your problem is with People's Instinctive. You know what? There's a guy in Cleveland.
You keep saying that it is. It's not a classic, Mike.
I think a lot of people's issue with People's Instinctive, it's actually my favorite Tribe album. But I think a lot of people's problem with People's Instinctive is the fact that Tribe turned into such a totally different group that people fell in love with, and when you hear that first album, it's like, that's not the Tribe I know. And the fact that it's basically a Q-Tip solo album.
Because they became significantly better. They went from good to great.
They were great from the jump. They were great from the jump. But, so you think Southern Playalistic, and you know what, I will say this about Southern Playalistic. I feel like Organized Noise really carried that album. I think Cass was dope, but the heavy sound of what Organized was bringing, the production, as big as the production was, the live instrumentation, the drums, it really helped Big Boy and Dre a whole lot. And they were able to kind of coast through that album. And they became so much better MCs on AT-Aliens that it was like, okay, well, we got this now.
I'm biased to Southern Playalistic because I was like actually leaving Atlanta and moving back to Charlotte when the album was coming out. So it was like connected me back to Atlanta in the home. So I'm probably biased about the album and how much I love it. It's super personal for me in that. It's like a lot of the Atlanta that I remember. It kind of tied me back to it when I moved to Charlotte.
How much
I
is it
don't know.
sonically though? How much is that sonics? Because for me, it's a lot. Funky Ride, you know.
Funky Ride. I'm about to say when you say sonically, Mike, I specifically think about Funky Ride and Southern Playalistic.
I was just about to say that one too. The chords on
Funky
that
Ride and
hook for
Southern
Southern
Playalistic.
Playalistic, yeah.
I was about to say. In the crumbling herb.
Yeah.
I was about to say not necessarily the song, but the crumbling herb, the hootie hoo transition, Mike, where they break it down with the drums and then go into hootie hoo. Oh, that was one of those comparable to the Chronic moments where he goes from the day the niggas took over to nothing but a G thing. It was one of those.
Yeah.
So the production was there, but here
the Players Ball reprise was big for me too. The drums on there.
Yeah. No. But where Outkast really won is because they were really honest, and the honesty came through. I think they were both dope MCs. I don't think either one of them is necessarily great on the album. MC, both really, but their honesty shines through on that album, Mike, and they're just more relatable than anybody else that you're hearing around that time other than Nas.
I think that
they're relatable. It's super relatable, Mike. Like when Andre's talking on Get Up, Get Out, y'all telling me that I need to get up and vote, huh? Why? Nobody black running a crack curve, so why I got to register? I'm thinking, like, they were talking about shit, like, you know what I'm saying? They were talking about themselves as young men becoming men and the things that they were seeing and going through, and it was super relatable. We went to Underground. I seen a lot of hoes around. I spent my game while waiting countdown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They was talking everyday shit, but they was making it fly, and they exposed a part of Atlanta. Like, even the skits exposed a part of Atlanta, like the skit where CeeLo to my niggas up in Bankhead, Buckhead, where he trying to sell the chain. You know what I'm saying?
Was that CeeLo?
It's like, it sounded like CeeLo to me, don't it?
I never knew that.
I always figured that was CeeLo. I know it was Gip on the other part, and I thought I was talking to CeeLo. Yeah.
Everybody in the room says you're tripping on that Tribe album, and we'll give you a pass for that. Eric Becker mentioned the record I was going to mention.
I don't care what y'all say.
I think Claiming True.
When people say a classic album, no. When you say something is a classic, that means you pick it back up and you play it regularly. None of y'all pick up People's Instinctive Travels.
I do.
And play it regularly.
I do.
No. And here's what. Stop for a second, Mike. You're in the minority because here's what I'm saying. When people want to hear a Tribe Called Quest, they do not play People's Instinctive Travels because that's not their classic shit. Their classic shit is the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders. And the same people that's sitting up here saying that I'm bugging, know they play the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders before they play that shit.
Nah, right. I'm rolling with People's Instinctive first, personally.
No, I'm not coming off that. That shit sounds like 1987 and 1989.
It's dope, man. I love that record. But Eric Becker brought up a record that I was going to bring up, Claiming True. I think Claiming True is where, Dre and Big Boy really shined on that album. And also, I think it should be mentioned that, to me, I feel like Get Up, Get Out is a huge outlier in the sense that I know I was talking to Ray Murray from Organized Noise one time, and he was basically telling me that Get Up, Get Out was CeeLo's song. And because CeeLo was solo, this is before CeeLo was actually in Goody Mob, and so Outkast had the deal, and so they basically gave the song to Cass. So CeeLo's verse on there, the introspectiveness that was on there, Big Boy and Dre had to get on there and match, and Gip too. So I feel like Get Up, Get Out is one of those outliers in that album where you can tell that really wasn't their mentality. In a sense, they were matching something that was already there. You know what I mean? But Claiming True is one of those records that I felt like Big Boy and Dre really got personal and shined on as well. But those two songs are outliers.
But that's what I'm saying. No, it's not, Mike. The album starts off personal. My intro to let you know is personal. Yeah.
My intro,
Well, that's what I'm saying. So when you're saying it's few and far in between, no, they start off personal. Dre talking on the first verse you hear Dre on, he talking about, I'll hit you for a lick, I'm in the slammer for the summer.
Yeah. It's about, even the song Call of the Wild or whatever, just talking
Making
about
300 on my SAT, and
yeah.
I am equal. Ain't no sequel, no saga, no way out. I'm nervous. I'm headed up the forehead with circus trying to serve us. To graduate is really becoming a very stressful journey. I feel like the steering wheel, because them is trying to turn me into a hate monger, and I'm wishing and I wonder, damn, will I graduate before I hit the summer? I think not.
Yeah, I think they were very relatable on their first album,
Super
and
relatable, Mike. If you're a young black man, you was feeling the shit they was talking about, and they made it sound fly. They gave you Hootie Hoo. They gave you Players Ball. They
did the
gave you
beats
Southern
not help
Playlist.
though? Did the beats not help a
No, the
lot?
beat.
Yeah.
No. The beats help, but it was a beautiful medley, is what I'm saying. It's like they deserve just as much credit as Organized Noise, because Mike, I really, outside of Southern Playalistic, the beat and Funky Ride, nothing on their beat wise really ever like stood out to me. I thought, like, you know me, like Ain't No Thing is up there with Benzo or Beamer with me as like favorite Outkast track. That's my favorite track on that album. Is Ain't No Thing.
Ain't No Thing is like the only Outkast song I could think of where both of them had 2/16s, right?
Two verses.
Well, Deep.
Hard 16s, Mike.
Deep.
They're hard, Mike.
Deep too,
They're
I think.
hard on Ain't No Thing. It's like, and you want to know I love Ain't No Thing? They never rapped like that again.
They never rap like that again. No, you're right. That used to.
Is freestyling at the end of Ain't No Thing as it's going out.
Yeah. They were really, they were really rapping on that album, and I think as time went on, Outkast became more of a, I'm gonna rap, do something else, and just mixing it all up. But I do love, and I like to kind of think of Stankonia as Outkast's last album. I do love how, like, on that album, they still showed you that a Spaghetti Junction was in them. Because Spaghetti Junction sounds like Southern Playalistic, stylistically Outkast with the updated, rhyme book, basically.
I'm about to say, Mike, the beat sounds like it was something that they pulled from Southern Playalistic. Like, hold on, let's show them we can still do this. It sounds like something from 94 to 96.
But
like in a good way though, the beat still knocks. Like that's one of the few tracks on Stankonia that knocked in a hip hop way.
Right. I think this is the thing though, when we're talking about Outkast being the greatest duo, I think most of that is just based on catalog and obviously, lyrical skills as individuals. But the thing is, it's hard to say that, bar for bar and career for career that, the two people that make up that duo are outdoing the two people that make up the Red and Meth duo, or the Ray and Ghost. And I know that Ray and Ghost aren't officially a duo, but I mean, do you consider Ray and Ghost an official duo? You do?
Mike.
What?
Whenever I hear Ray, whenever I hear Ghost, whenever I hear that they're coming out of a project, I get the same feeling that the way that we feel now when we talk about when Griselda comes out and it's like, where's the Griselda song?
Who had the better verses? Who you think had the better verses? Ray and Ghost or Meth and Red?
Meth and Red are bigger stars than Ray and Ghost. And inherently more talented MCs, even though they don't have the catalog. Like Ghost has a better catalog than Redman. Ray has a better catalog than Meth. Meth and Red are the better MCs actually. But I have Ghost and Ray ranked higher because of their catalogs, because quite frankly, Ray and Redman both have one classic. Purple Tape. Well, I mean, actually, I think Ray got two, because I think the second one's a classic too. But if we just talking all-time classic,
Redman might have more than that. Redman might have 3 classics.
Mike, I think you're gonna be hard pressed to call What the. I never felt like What the album was a classic to me. I always felt like I feel about What the album comparable to what I feel like People's Instinctive Travels. No, it's a dope record. It's not a classic. But if you want to talk about There Is a Dark Side and Muddy Waters, we can have that conversation. But I'll tell you, Purple Tape 1 and 2 is better than both of those records. That's why I got Ray higher than Red.
Well, you told me to post this earlier. Raekwon versus Redman, and Redman is beating Raekwon 63% to 37%. You think people are sleeping on Ray, or you? Because I honestly think, man, Redman has
how many people have the amount of stellar guest verse appearances he has, the classic albums that he has, the classic group contributions that he has that don't get top 10 consideration? Why are we always so quick to dismiss Ray? I'm asking at this point.
I think that bar for bar, Redman is just a more impressive MC than
No,
Raekwon.
I told you, Mike. No, no, he is. I
Uh-huh.
told you inherently. If we just talking like who's the better MC? Oh, Meth and Red are better than Ray and Goes.
Okay. Okay, we're doing that. Let's get back to Outkast. So, all right,
Hold
so
on,
you got
hold on.
Method Man and Andre at the top.
Hold on, Mike. How about that? Hold on. Whose contributions to their group is greater, Redman, the Def Squad, or Raekwon, the Wu Tang?
I think Redman the Def Squad.
Really?
Redman is Def Squad.
Okay, so Mike, I want you to understand something when you say that. Wu Tang took off with Cream. Who started off Cream?
I think that was more so because of Method Man, man, and no disrespect. And I
No,
think Ray was an integral part of that. But that hook, man.
Mike, Cream is one of those few rap songs where everybody knows the verses and the hook to it from beginning to end, and there's a reason. Everybody knows I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side, staying alive was no job, had second hands, moms bounced on old man, so then we moved to Shaolin land. Everybody in rap knows that, Mike. Redman doesn't have any comment. Red don't have that. Does Red have that?
So you think if Ray and Red did a versus, Raekwon would come out on top of Red if they did a versus? I think that's a really good point.
Didn't he just beat Ghost?
He actually did. He actually did beat Ghost.
So when are we gonna start talking about Ray the way we need to talk about Ray? Like y'all getting on my nerves.
I think the reason why people don't consider Ray like in the way that you do, and you're putting it in a real good context, a lot of the stuff that Ray has done has been more collaborative. But see, again, we can't sit here and give Andre 3000 props either because he has nothing alone.
We don't knock Andre.
I agree.
It's a collaborative effort. We don't knock Jay-Z. He got more guest appearances than any great MC ever. Why we knocking Ray? That's what I'm saying.
Well, Jay got a lot of great stuff by himself too, but I think the Andre point is really on point.
What?
I think the point that you made about Andre having a career of collaborative efforts and
Ray, collaborative effort.
It is.
Yeah.
And no one holds that against him. You're right. You're right.
How about this?
I think Ray might be underrated. Underappreciated.
I keep telling people, on to Cal, there's a reason that Meth vs. Chef made to Cal. That was a freestyle where Ray lost the battle, but Ray's so dope that you listen to his verse even when he's losing to somebody like Meth, and you're like, no, that's dope enough to put on my album. He's good even when he loses.
You know what Ray's biggest problem is, Coop? He's in the Wu-Tang. And
he's in the Wu-Tang with Meth and Ghost.
And I think that
Ghost has the catalog.
Universally, I think people look at Ray as the fourth best member of the Wu-Tang.
What?
Yeah. It's either Ghost, Meth, Jizza, then him, or some people would say Ghost, Meth, Inspector Deck, and him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're talking about just straight up raw MCs. I ain't talking about catalog and all that, but we're talking about the group. And if you rank them who are the strongest MCs down to the weakest, a lot of people would have Ray somewhere around 3 or 4. A lot of people would say 4. People who put Jizza very high, people who put Inspector very high, would have them over Ray. And I think that's his biggest problem on an all-time list, is that in his own group, he's 4.
So first of all, he's not 4, so let's speak to this.
Okay, let's speak to it.
And you know how I am about lyrics. You know, what's my 1 and 2? Rakim and Nas. So, like, lyrics are my thing.
Right.
The Jizza and Inspector Deck are better lyricists than Raekwon. They're not that much better. Okay? When Jizza's on, Jizza's Rakim and Nas like when he's on, so it's hard to reach that level of lyricism. He think different. Guys like that think different. But what he does that they don't do is he brings the lyricism and the streets to it in a way that they don't. He has a better delivery than both of them. He has a better voice than both of them. He is more of a persona and presence and star than both of them. He has more impact on the mic than both of them. So the only thing that they have on him is the lyrics. He is inherently better at everything. Him and Jizza are probably a tie as storytellers because they're both excellent storytellers. So at worst, he's 3rd, okay? if we talking catalog, Mike, he's second and Meth is third.
Okay, I'm with that. Ava said, I'm sorry, Sarange, my bad, I'm butchering the name, says, yes, Jizza is a way better lyricist than Ray. Come on. Ray has more style and flow. You know what?
But
All right,
that's what I'm saying. Hold on. If an MC only beats you at one thing and there's like 10 checkpoints, who's the better MC?
let me ask
Ray's
you
better.
this. Do you
Ray's
think that
better than Jizza.
you think Jizza did
Jizza's
more
not a better
heavy lift?
lyricist.
Do you think Jizza did more heavy lifting on Liquid Swords than Raekwon did on Only Built for Cuban Links?
Yes.
Yes.
And he deserves credit for that. So, and this is what I mean is like at his peak, he's Rakim and Nas like, which mean, oh, ain't nobody fucking with that. Like I told you, Mike, like people argue about whether Only Built for Cuban Links is the most lyrical album ever. I'm like, shit, it might not be the most lyrical album to come out of the group. The album that came out right after it might be more lyrical because that guy was on some shit when he made that and wrote that.
And you know what? And again, I'm not disagreeing with you in that sense. And I think a lot of people, when they think of Wu-Tang and the members, they look at it for Wu-Tang in its prime in that period, right? So I think the problem why Ray isn't on these all-time lists where he should be is because of where he actually ranks in the actual group. In the group's prime.
What I'm saying is, Mike, if you look at everything, all things being considered, the only person that has a legitimate argument, the only person who can say that they're better is Ghost, is because Ghost has been there for most of Ray's best shit. You know what I'm saying? But like Ray's catalog is far superior to Meth's, even though Meth is the better MC.
Okay.
Like it's no, hold on. Let me say this for a second. This is what I meant about those guest appearances are so important, Mike, because Gorgeous with Kanye West, Blind Threats with Schoolboy Q, John Blaze with Fat Joe, Skew It on the Barb and Royal Flush with Outkast. Like, he's everywhere. Ray got joints with everybody. There ain't nobody that Ray ain't got on and caught wreck with. He's got the Wu-Tang shit. He's got the guest appearance shit. He's got the personal shit. He's got 2 classic albums. He's got 2 classic Wu-Tang albums. His whole catalog says I'm a top 10 MC.
He was very involved, too, on Wu-Tang Forever. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't counted everybody's features on Wu-Tang Forever or everybody's individual verses, but I believe he has more verses than anybody on Wu-Tang Forever. He's like on like every song.
So Mike, I'm gonna tell you what. On both albums, on both Wu-Tang classic albums, he's the only one that can probably say he's the most integral part to both of them being classic. Because here's what I'm gonna submit to you. On Enter the Wu-Tang, the impactful people on Enter the Wu-Tang in order were Method Man, Old Dirty Bastard, and Raekwon.
Exactly.
On Wu-Tang Forever, it's Ghostface Killer, Inspector Deck, and Raekwon again.
Method Man too. Let's not sleep on Method Man too. Method Man came through on Wu-Tang Forever, man.
He did.
Reunited.
Reunited in Scary Hours, but hold on, even on Scary Hours, Ray.
But I think Method Man coming after Inspector. I think Method Man coming after Inspector on the way he did on the Triumph was one of the more important verses after a verse like that. It wasn't a drop off.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, Mike. Meth's verse on Triumph is the most important verse on that album because Deck's verse is so all-time great.
It could have shut the rest of the song out.
You could hold on about this, Mike. It's the type of verse that if Meth doesn't come with that verse, it kills everybody momentum and shuts the song down. So we don't hear the record. And so no, I'm not taking nothing away from Meth. I would just put Meth fourth on Wu-Tang Forever after Ray. But all I'm saying is he's the integral part, and he's the glue guy.
He is the glue guy.
He's the glue guy. How about this? So he's the glue guy of 2 Wu-Tang classics. He's got 2 of his own classics. He's on Shotgun on one of Ghost's classics. Mike, that's 5 classics he's a part of.
Real quick, with all things considered, go ahead and rank all the Wu-Tang members from 1 to 9, just off the top.
Off the top? And we talking about
all things considered.
Ghostface Kid, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Raekwon the Chef, number 2. Method Man, number 3. The Genius, number 4. Jizza Genius, number 4. Mm-hmm. Inspector Old Dirty Bastard, number 5. Inspector Deck, number 6. Is Cap a part of this?
No, no. I mean, you can. I don't care. You can. I mean, it's just one extra member, but yeah, go ahead.
We gonna go Kappa next, and then we gonna go Master Tequila, and then we gonna go RZA, then we gonna go You God. I like RZA, and RZA's a great MC. I just feel like his real contribution from the Wu-Tang was really as a producer, even though he did provide a lot of dope verses and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
think there's any verse that RZA has on any Wu-Tang project that really stands out. His verse on Wu Gambino's is pretty special.
What about Impossible? What about
I was about
Fourth
to go
Chamber?
there.
Okay.
I was about to say, I was about to go through those. Well, you just the other Mike, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think Fourth Chamber is his best verse, his best contribution.
Yeah, and I think that Ghost might have the best verse on there. But yeah,
No, Mike,
what a special group.
I actually think RZA has the best verse because for somebody that was producing the way that he was producing at the time, to take the time to write a rhyme that ends in an acronym, protons, electrons, always cause explosions, peace. Like, to do that, that's pretty dope. That's some Rock M shit.
You know, I actually like Jizz's verse on there, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm
great,
a huge
Mike.
Ghostface fan.
I mean, how about this, Mike? Isn't Fourth Chamber one of the 20 best Wu-Tang posse cuts? It's in the top 20, right? Maybe top 10?
I agree. And you know, the other thing that we got to
Chamber.
give Ray credit for, too, and I always give Ghost credit for this as well, the type of people that he's had to constantly share bars with on every single song of his, you know, pretty much of his career. You know, you talk about these posse cuts, like, you got nothing but all-time greats around you, basically.
Hey, Mike. Fat Joe called Raekwon into a room with Jada Kiss and Big Pun and Nas. That's not accidental.
Yeah.
Mobb Deep called Raekwon into a room with Nas, like Nasty Nas, like best MC anybody ever heard Nas.
I mean, you got verbal intercourse too. You know, it's what it is.
How about this, Mike? Mike, how nice do you have to be inviting Nas into the room in '95, Mike? That ain't some shit that regular MCs do.
And Nas spits probably one of his most impressive verses on your album. So yeah, that's
best rap.
That's
the best
respect.
Rap verse ever, Mike. It's the best rap verse ever.
You think that's the best rap verse ever? Okay.
If we talking 16 bars, yeah, it's the best 16 bars ever. Yeah.
BJ Lyles asked a question. He said, which Wu solo had the illest beats? I'm gonna say Purple Tape.
Either Purple Tape or Liquid Swords. I mean, Purple Tape, Liquid Swords, or Iron Man. It's one of those three. It's all about it, what you like. If you like the street shit, it's Purple Tape. If you like the hip hop shit, it's Liquid Swords. If you like the eclectic shit, it's Iron Man. So it's about what you like.
I'm gonna say Purple Tape because of Ice Cream, Incarcerated Scarfaces, Rainy Days, Ice Water.
I love Ice Water, Mike.
Yeah,
Glaciers
of Ice, of course. That's where I was going next. Wu Gambino's, yeah.
You want to know? No, Mike, you're right. Because you want to know what? You want to know what the Purple Tape has? Like the beats.
Criminology.
You want to know what? Almost all those beats on the Purple Tape are bangers, Mike. Those are bangers.
It's RZA's best produced project. In my opinion, I think it's the best Wu-Tang project, period. Like, we're counting all their solo albums, and we're counting all the Wu-Tang albums. It's just the best one.
I mean, Mike, I told you, I don't know if I've ever seen. I think it's the second best executive produced album ever after The Chronic.
Guillotine.
I love what they did with Guillotine just because you heard it on Meth's album and then they bought it back. It's like, oh, that's the beat we wanted to hear, and they bought it back. They know what they're doing. Like, when you heard Guillotine come on, it's like, oh, they know what they're doing. We've been waiting to hear that for 2 years.
Yep. Poisonous Paragraph, smashed the phonograph in half, and beat the Inspector Death on the warpath. Yeah.
All right. So what about we wrapping up with Illmatic celebrated its what? How many years?
Oh yeah. We got so caught up in the duo conversation. All right, Illmatic. You know, we celebrate Illmatic every single year. It feels like, you know, it's like a holiday or something. You know, I'm surprised that Columbia didn't put out a repressed vinyl of the 27th anniversary. Ain't no telling what they're gonna do for the 30th. I mean, they've done like a 10th anniversary for this album. I think they've done a 15-year.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, you know, I was listening to Illmatic on its 27th anniversary, and I listened to it all the way through, and I'm just sitting there like, I can't believe that there are people who actually feel like It Was Written is a better album than Illmatic. I understand where those people, are coming from as far as like Nas as an MC. Cause yes,
Uh-huh.
on It Was Written, he's probably a better MC than he was on the first album. But those songs, like One Love, like The World Is Yours, I'm sitting here listening to Memory Lane. I'm like, none of those records on It Was Written even come close, man. Yeah, BJ, we got a person in here. BJ Lyle says It Was Written was a notch better in my opinion. Why exactly?
So can I? So
Go
can I
ahead.
speak to something?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you're totally right, but I'm gonna try to explain why. Like that's the album that made me want to rap, but more importantly, it's the album that made me want to be a part of this culture, regardless. And there are very few albums that have ever been made in any culture that have the type of feel that draws you in and makes you want to become part of the culture.
You're talking about It Was Written or Illmatic?
I'm talking about Illmatic. It was written,
Okay.
don't do that shit.
I was about to say, I thought I was in the Twilight Zone for a minute.
No, and that's what I mean. And so people have to understand this. It's like, oh, that guy that you hear on I Gave You Power and Take It in Blood and the setup and live nigga rap and shootouts and oh no, he's better. But the message isn't better, and the feel. The
feel is big.
So important. The feeling to Illmatic is timeless. You can go read the song titles and see the timelessness to it. New York State of Mind.
Yeah.
That's a timeless thing. Life's a bitch. Timeless thing.
Yeah.
The world is yours. Timeless
Yeah.
thing. Memory Lane. Timeless
These
thing.
are just incredible songs,
One
man.
Love. Timeless thing.
Yeah.
Represent. Timeless thing. It ain't hard to tell is the most subtle flex record a hip hop artist ever made. It's
I think
timeless.
that one time for your mind is the only song that people could say is some level of a hiccup, and it's a good song. It's just surrounded by great songs.
Like, here's the reality of the matter is, it's the only song on there that's not a 10. All the other songs are 10.
Exactly. It's a regular song. It's the only regular song on there.
It's an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 when every other song is a 10.
Yeah. Andre Shashir says, I Gave You Power is just as good as those tracks. I disagree. I think the concept of what he accomplished on there. Go ahead. You speak to it.
Let me take this one because you know how I feel about I Gave You Power. So, Andre, I'm going to tell you how I feel about I Gave You Power. I think I Gave You Power from beginning to end, meaning verse 1, 2 to 3 plus the hook is the best lyrical performance ever on the mic. But exactly what I'm talking about the feel of it, as great as that record is, and I think that along with the setup or the two best records on it was written, to me, it don't feel like Illmatic, fam. It don't feel like New York State of Mind. When you're listening to Nas on New York State of Mind, you're seeing him running through that hallway, fam. And so I want to speak to something right quick, and I think I said this before. When you go in the Sistine Chapel, Mike, like when you go in the Vatican and you go to the Sistine Chapel, you look up at the ceiling and you see the frescoes and stuff, you can see Raphael. And when Raphael had control of the project of the Sistine Chapel, and you can tell his hand and his color on the frescoes. Mike, when they get to Michelangelo, the hand get a little bit better, and the color get a little bit better, and you can see the difference. That's what Illmatic is to rap. He upped the ante. Nobody had ever upped the ante like that. It's like walking through the Sistine Chapel when you stop seeing Raphael shit and then you start seeing Michelangelo shit, and you start seeing Michelangelo shit and you're like, that's the best shit I've ever seen. Period. That's what Illmatic is.
Illmatic, and it's the feel.
It's the Sistine Chapel. It's Michelangelo doing the Sistine Chapel.
I mean, you know what? That's a great analogy. I think that...
He brought color to the shit in a way that nobody had brought color to it before. His hand was different. His color was different.
I think another thing you said too.
Where did you get that from?
I think another thing you said too, man, when you went through the titles of these songs.
Timeless.
these sound like songs from the 70s or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the
Like
song
Mike.
titles, these don't sound like rap songs.
I mean, Mike,
So,
I wasn't totally into Rakim yet, but Nas is the first MC that made me think about what he was saying. You understood what KRS and Cool D Rap and Kane and Slick Rick and them were saying. Like Nas said shit that made you think. Like when he said, Mike, I'll never forget when he said, "My rhyming is a vitamin held without a capsule." I was like, hold on, what? What? You
I'm sorry, Illmatic's otherworldly, man. And you know, and I
like what
think
the fuck?
that it's a ghost that has haunted Nas in his career, and he's had an amazing career since then. Obviously, one of the best ever. But it's one of those albums I don't think anybody could have topped. And you know, with all those in those circumstances. Because again, we've seen him become an even better rapper in the next on the next album. It was written, and he's still. I'm sorry, if Illmatic is a 5, it was written as a 4. And I know you feel different about that, but just listening to those two albums, if I had to put a list of all the songs on both albums and I'm ranking these songs, I'm sorry, man. The Illmatic songs, just about, I would say, 8 out of 9 are better than pretty much everything on it was written.
No, how about this, Mike? New York State of Mind, Life's a Bitch, The World is Yours, Memory Lane, One Love, Represent, and It Ain't Hard to Tell.
That's everything, other than One Time
Yeah,
for Your Mind.
and Halftime. One Time for Your Mind and Halftime are the
Halftime,
weakest
yeah.
songs on there. And Halftime's great.
Halftime's
Um,
great, and
I
halftime's a
think those,
throwback.
I think those records are better than everything that when it was written. I only it was records that are in the conversation with those records are the setup. I Gave You Power. Mike, live nigga rap got a feel to it. I know you love
I
live nigga
love
rap.
live nigga rap.
Live nigga rap is something else.
He killed that
Silent
shit
Murder.
too.
Silent Murder.
Oh, see,
Like he's got some stuff.
you know
He
what?
got some stuff.
See, I forgot about I forget about Silent Murder because it's not on the copy that I have. But if we're
Right.
talking Silent Murder, yes, Silent Murder's in the mix. It's actually one of my favorite Nas records.
Mike, inside story. I worked at a record store in high school. You get the Silent Murder version from the UK. You just had to pay $31.99.
Yeah, man, Silent Murder's incredible. Now, if we're talking Silent Murder, that's in the
so
mix.
here's the thing. So Mike, so listen to the songs that I just named. It's like, is I Gave You Power the best lyrical performance on the mic ever, from beginning to end by a solo artist to me? Yes. Now sit it next to track, because that's track number 4 on It Was Written. Now sit it next to track number 4 on Illmatic. What's track number 4 on Illmatic, Mike?
Track number 4 on Illmatic, we're counting the intro, right?
Yep.
So it's New York City, man. Likes to be. Oh, The World Is Yours.
Is The World Is Yours better than I Gave You Power?
Of course it is.
Is Life's a Bitch better than The Message?
It is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so, like, is New York State of Mind better than The Setup?
Of course it is. I mean,
Mike, is One Love or Memory Lane better than Silent Murder?
you know how I feel, man. Like I said,
You love Silent Murder. You love Silent
I
Murder.
love Silent Murder, but Memory Lane's a better song.
Memory Lane's better than Silent Murder. That's
Memory
what I'm
Lane
saying.
might
So
possibly be the best record on Illmatic. It's one of them. It's top 3.
So personal favorite record on Illmatic is Memory Lane. Like specifically the song that made me want to rap is Memory Lane, because I was like, man, nobody ever made this fucked up shit sound beautiful like this before.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
You know
People
what?
don't understand that.
I
Like,
reminisce on Park Jam. My man.
It never sounded beautiful before. That's what I'm saying about that Sistine Chapel. It's like, no, I didn't ever look like that before.
That whole, stanza of I reminisce on Park Jam. My man was shot for a sheet coat. It's like,
Chocolate bless and make me see it drop in my weed smoke.
it's crazy. That's trauma, man. And for it to be explained in that way and that beautiful, I'm sorry. There's nothing on It Was Written that is even
Dramatic,
close to that.
automatic, fofo, I let blow.
It's-
back down, po when I'm vexed. So
it's one of those
My pen
things.
taps the paper, then my brain's blank.
It's one of those things, man. It's really a shame that someone who can articulate their circumstance like that to that degree, even has to live through those things. And imagine the people who aren't able to articulate what they're going through. Imagine the opportunities a person that is just that innately gifted would have if they came up in better circumstances. And it's just
Okay, So there was something about Illmatic because okay, so didn't you get? And I don't know if you ever got this. Didn't you always get the feeling? And I think a lot of us as black people feel it. Didn't you get the feeling like he didn't belong there?
No, he didn't belong there. I think that's where the
Right.
Kendrick Lamar comparisons come from with Good Kid,
Right.
Mad
No, it's
City. It's
very
like,
valid. It's the same feeling.
yeah,
It's the same feeling. That's why I told you, Good Kid, Mad City is the West Coast Illmatic. It has very when he's talking like bitch don't kill my vibe. Got a similar message to Life's a Bitch.
yeah, it's like, yeah, you don't belong here, man.
You don't belong here. Like
Yeah.
you somewhere else, dude.
Yeah, and I'm glad that people were able to embrace his gifts and present him in the right way, and we were able to get that gift. Illmatic is a
Mike,
gift to the culture.
Mike,
Period.
they should have never touched the mic. They should have just been like, no, you stay over there and do whatever it was that you were doing.
But I think it's one of those
here.
debuts too that can never be duplicated. I think Doggy Style can never be duplicated. I think the Chronic. Shit. I think Drake did the best job of trying to duplicate the Chronic on 2001. He kind of just sonically upped the ante, but there's certain debuts that just can't be duplicated. Illmatic might be the quintessential one. I think DMX had one that couldn't be duplicated as well. But it takes a lot of hard times and a lot of skill and a lot of, man, just grit to actually create something like that.
Sistine Chapel, Mike, there's a whole continent where they put everything on the ceiling trying to match what Michelangelo did on the Sistine Chapel. You know what I'm saying? Michelangelo.
Yeah, and I'm glad Illmatic is celebrated in the way it is. And I understand that, people are fans of It Was Written, but, it's not even close.
And we have to talk about it this way. That's why I'm bringing up Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel. Like, we have to start downplaying our greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, what Nas did with Illmatic is comparable to what Michelangelo did with the Sistine Chapel when he took over. He brought more color and life to the shit.
I think that he obviously was a gift in himself, and the fact that the production team of Large Professor, Pete Rock, DJ Premier, Q-Tip, and LES, they were able to get that out of him.
You want to know what
it's
it
a
is?
beautiful
I don't think
thing.
they got it out of them. You want to know it? I think it's one of those rare moments where you had a guy who was all-time great that provided all-time great lyrics, and the beats actually matched his all-time great lyrics. Like, they actually met his bar, and his bar is the highest bar. That's why it's so great. They met the bar.
Stars are aligned. And we talk about this all the time. Those producers were coming off of great efforts. I mean, Q-Tip was coming off of making Midnight Marauders. You had Premier coming off of Hard to Earn. You had Pete Rock coming off of Mecca and the Soul Brother, and he was making Main Ingredient at the time. And you had Large Professor coming off of Breaking Atoms. I mean, it was just, these guys were on a roll.
Mike, in my world, hip-hop sounds like the world is yours every day.
It's a beautiful
that's my hip-hop world.
record.
That's the hip-hop world. Like, when I get in my car and I play The World Is Yours, it's like, this is the hip-hop world I want to live in.
Did you, and I'm sure you checked out the album where he did Illmatic at the Kennedy Center, right? With the full symphony.
The live orchestra?
Yeah. The World Is Yours sounds very beautiful.
Yeah, some dope moments. There's some really dope moments.
Yeah.
New York State of Mind was a really dope moment.
Yeah.
Hearing New York State of Mind by a live orchestra, yeah.
Yeah. It ain't hard to tell, man. That's a real hip hop classic too, as far as hardcore feel and all that. But yeah, man.
And I want to say something too. And here's the thing about it. And here's what he did that's very understated. So Halftime, the only real dated song on there. Like, One Time for Your Mind was a little dated too, but Halftime's the only real dated song on there, Mike.
But it was made like 2 or 3 years before it.
So that's 16, 17-year-old him, Mike. I want you to understand that by the time he was 19, he was so dope and great as an MC that he no longer even needed to use punchlines. There are no punchline on Illmatic. The only punchline on Illmatic is arguably one of the best punchlines of all time, which is, you wouldn't catch me in the streets without a ton of reefer. That's like Malcolm X catching the jungle fever. It's the only real punchline on Illmatic. So understand that you don't need punchlines to be a great MC either. And we make that the measure of things. It's like, oh, he ain't say nothing that was like Illmatic has none of that, and it's arguably the best piece of hip hop work ever. And so he needs to. There's a testimony for his greatness without the punchlines, because all these other guys that are considered with him big time punchline guys, and he's never been that.
You're right, and and it's interesting, man. And just thinking about a lot of the MCs we were talking about today, and a lot of MCs that we
That's dope
talk
shit.
about, they couldn't have made that album, man. And it's
That's
just
dope shit, Mike. That's what I'm saying. By the time he was 19 or 20, he was so nice he didn't even need to use punchlines anymore.
yeah, yeah. And the fact that, man, like a group like a Wu-Tang and Ghostface and Ray, they rallied around this guy. Because I remember Method Man talking about, yeah. I know Method Man was talking about, that whole, that skit on the Purple Tape or whatnot. And he said that, they were just such fans of Nas, they couldn't stand to see niggas out here biting his shit. And so that wasn't even anything personal. That was just how dope they thought he was as an MC. They were just fans, like, yo, you biting Nas shit?
Mike, did you hear Ghost talking about Nas, talking about, yo, nigga was blessed by, every time I see him, nigga blessed by God. That's Ghost talking about Nas like that, Mike.
Yeah. I mean,
that's another top 5 MC talking about Nas that way, Mike. Ghost in a lot of people top 5. He talking about Nas like, yo, that nigga blessed by God or something. I tell him every time I see him, like, what the fuck?
I mean, whenever you hear Fat Joe talk about Illmatic, I mean, I remember hearing Fat Joe and Common have a conversation about Illmatic, just talking about how that shit changed up everything they was doing. They was like, they heard that shit and they was like, man, Mike, I gotta change it up.
Fat Joe opened a clothing store called Halftime, Mike.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that shit real. Like,
yeah,
Mike,
man.
Like that Nas effect is real.
Yeah, man. Illmatic is really real.
What's that thing where he said, like, Nas must have naked pictures of God or something? Like, yeah, like, niggas be feeling that way.
I mean, it was leaps and bounds ahead of everything that was going on at that time, and it's still the gold standard. I don't think that... Yeah, I don't think that's been reset.
Better since it came out. That's the problem. Nobody's made anything better.
Not as an individual, no.
As a solo MC, no. And I think Outkast, I think Aquemini and the Purple Tape are the only projects that I can really look at and say from beginning to end, it's like...
But it's in a different way.
Conversation. It's in a different way.
It's in a different way.
What I'm talking about is just from quality, from beginning to end, impact, just... It's in the conversation. Like, most of these classic albums that you talk about aren't even in the conversation. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, Mike, don't ever think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is in the conversation with Illmatic. And that might be the best rap album of the last 10, 11 years. You feel me?
It's for different reasons, though. It's different.
Mike,
it's different.
Mike, it's not fucking...
No, it's not. No, it's not. But I'm saying anybody who...
Think about it, Mike. That might be the best rap album of the last 15 years. That's
it
how
might
great
be.
Illmatic is.
I would,
the best rap album of the last 15 years isn't even close to Illmatic.
I think that College Dropout is closer in certain ways, but no, I mean, I feel you. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is about production. It's
about feel. The College Dropout is closer because it provides a feel.
Exactly, it does, and it gives you a story, and it makes you feel that person's anguish, pain, all that. Honestly, man, College Dropout to me, I think is a 1 of 1 too, and I think mostly because of the individual it is. Similar to what Reasonable Doubt is, and how Reasonable Doubt is a 1 of 1 because of who made it and the approach to it. But College Dropout, one of the more relatable hip hop records of all time.
Absolutely, arguably the most relatable.
Yeah, you didn't have to be from the streets to get it, and you could be from the streets and get it too. But
no, it's good rap music. My good rap music is supposed to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it has what you were talking about too. Those song titles are timeless themes.
Yeah, Jesus Walks, All Falls Down, Spaceship. Yeah, timeless themes.
Yeah. Slow jams. We don't care what people say. Like, these songs really speak to you in different ways, man. So
no. I get it. College Dropout has a feel. I prefer Late Registration, but in terms of feel, and I want that hip hop feel. Yeah.
Sonically, yeah. I think Late Registration is actually my favorite Kanye album, but it's hard to top an album like College Dropout, and especially with an outro like that. You know what I mean?
There's just so many great songs on Late Registration. There's just so many great songs on there.
Yeah, I think that outro on College Dropout might be one of the best outros ever in hip hop. It's hard to top.
I agree.
It's hard to top.
All right. So,
but let's get out of here, man. Great conversation. I don't think that Outkast is, dominant as hip hop's greatest duo is like super safe. And yeah, I think Illmatic continues to deserve the praise that it gets, man. And we can never expect another Illmatic from Nas or anybody else. Those things just happen.
Yeah. I mean, we
But
shouldn't be looking for those things. We need to enjoy, we need to enjoy them while we got them while they're here. We need to give people their flowers while they're here. We need to
definitely,
talk about our legends like the legends that they are. We need to start referencing them in context of like Shakespeare and the Beatles and Michelangelo to start giving it some context to what they're really accomplishing and doing.
definitely. Well, rest in peace, DMX. His funeral celebrations tomorrow. Rest in peace, Black Rob, and rest in peace, Shock G. Hopefully, man, next week we will have some new music. I want to hear some new classics so we could talk about. And hopefully that's coming, man. I'm looking forward to it. I believe in you, hip hop. I think we can get some new music.
Yeah, I just